Hello neighbor, this is Curt with eTrailer, and today we're going to be taking a look at the eTrailer custom floor mats, and we're going to see how they fit and how they look with our 2025 Toyota RAV4. So these custom floor mats from eTrailer are thermoplastic. They're extremely durable. They're going to do a really good job of protecting that factory carpet. Completely waterproof. And really the thermoplastic material that they're made of really does help fight that curling and that kind of getting dried out and cracking that you might get from other floor mats. And the other thing about it is they are going to offer just a little bit more coverage on our floors than the RAV4 factory mats. So one of the first things I'll do is just kind of lay one over the other so you can kind of compare the coverage. And as you can see right here, we do have a slightly higher sidewall, so that's going to offer a little bit better protection there. It does go up underneath our brake pedal and our dead pedal a little bit further, so we do get some extra coverage on that as well. And generally though, the rest of it, we have the same type of coverage. Both of them are going to have the Toyota anchors for the floor mats. And when it comes to the back and how they grip, these have a pretty good grip. They've got these kind of more rounded studs at the bottom. They do a pretty good job of keeping it from sliding around under your feet. And as opposed to the factory, which is going to be one of those types that just has a lot of these little itty bitty kind of sharper studs to it. Now, technically, neither of these really do any kind of damage to the carpet, but there are some people that feel like these are a little bit tougher on your carpet with all these tiny studs than something like this where it's just a little bit more kind of hollowed out and sectioned off, creating that friction without actually stabbing into the carpet itself. And the other thing we'll talk about is kind of how they're grooved out. Now, while the coverage is close to the same, again, you do get more coverage on the floors out of these. One of the first things that I noticed compared to the factory is that these are obviously going to be really easy to take in and out of the car. So you can take them out, hose them off really good, let them dry and put them back in, easy peasy, just like that. But if I was to spot clean something, let's say there's just a chunk of mud or anything like that, I'm thinking I'm going to have a much easier time cleaning something like this where there's these open grooves and channels than something like this where they're all sectioned off into these little rectangles. I could just picture myself with a rag or something just cleaning out each and every one of these sections, a couple of dozen of them if I'm going to clean the whole mat. So I don't think cleaning these is going to be as easy as these. The other thing about the eTrailer floor mats is all this channeling that's going on. It's really going to do a good job of kind of pulling and guiding any kind of liquids or anything away from the pedal area. And these have deeper channels as well, which I do think is going to help get the bottom of your feet, your shoes rather, cleaned off and dry. So it's a little bit safer getting in and out of the vehicle as well. But as far as like coverage and how they're made and how they grip the floor, fairly similar. Again, the biggest difference to me is how these grooves and textures are going to react when I'm trying to clean it or, when I am channeling any of those liquids or debris off of my feet. But let's go ahead and get them in the vehicle and we'll take a look at how they look in there. And these are going to be taken in and out of the vehicle the same way the factory ones will. We'll just make sure that we get this underneath our brake pedal and we're going to line up our anchors, which in true Toyota fashion are those kind of twist anchors that we have here. And those are placed absolutely perfectly. And really right out of the box, we've got really good tight coverage all the way around. This can be expected with any of these kind of thermoplastic floor mats though. When they're new out of the box, you might have a little bit of a gapping here. But I know from experience that if I just put a little bit of weight on this, keep it overnight, especially if it's a hotter or more humid day, it works even better. But just kind of leave some pressure on this overnight. And generally speaking, the next day, you don't have that gap in there at all. But this dead pedal coverage is fantastic because it really goes all the way up almost underneath the dash. And again, we got a couple of inches of extra coverage going up here underneath our brake pedal. And we've got this kind of protective lip here in the back to keep anything from pooling underneath the seat. I just think that this is a better option than the factory just because of those extra little details. Plus, I do think that these actually look really good. I think the design of these looks really nice. It looks sleek, and I think it's a great complement for the RAV4. Now, over on the passenger side, this also offers just a little bit extra coverage from what you get out of the factory floor mats. Higher sidewall, again, we've got those same type of grooves and everything going through that, again, is really going to look very pleasing to the eye and be functional in that it's channeling that liquid really well. We get a little more coverage going up here, again, going almost all the way under the dash. And we've got a really good tight fit around all the curves and contours over here on the passenger side as well. So when we get into the second row floor mats, it's really the same story. That same groove design, that same general coverage around the edges. We do have that higher sidewall. And one of the things that I immediately noticed in the RAV4 is just how much of a space you have underneath your front seats. And being is that's the way that they are, I can easily see someone in the second row stretching out and relaxing and getting, their feet a good distance underneath here. We do actually get a couple inches more coverage up under the seat with these than we did the factory ones. So I really like that that they did that. And in the similar design, they also come over the center console area and get coverage on that as well. Now, one of the things about the second row is that when you do get it in the box, your driver and your passenger front row are going to be laying flat. Because this is all one piece, it's kind of rolled up. So I do have some pretty serious gapping right in here. But again, I just know from experience that if I leave this overnight with some weight against it, and if it is a humid night, it'll work even better. But that is going to mold against there pretty nicely and give us that complete coverage back here that we're looking for. So that's a look at the eTrailer custom floor liners in our 2025 Toyota RAV4. If after watching this video you decide you want to go ahead and give these a try, please let us know what you think about them in the comments below. We would love to share that experience with other neighbors just like you so that they can make the best decision for themselves. Once again, this is Curt with eTrailer. Thanks for stopping by.